Welcome back to the seventh part of this tutorial series. Today we're delving into the unwrapping process, even though it may not be necessary since we'll be utilizing physical materials for texturing. Nonetheless, I will demonstrate three approaches using native 3ds Max's UVW Unwrap modifier, and additionally I'll introduce you to the UV Tools script and RizomUV, an external software that offers exceptional unwrapping capabilities. While UV Tools and RizomUV require a purchase, I believe that they are worth every cent, as they help a lot with our daily workflow. So without any further ado, let's dive in and explore these unwrapping methods together. UV Tools is a powerful script for 3ds Max that you can get at hqdetails.com. It is $22 and believe me, it's more than worth it. UV Tools provides a wide range of tools and features to streamline the UV unwrapping process and improve efficiency in texturing workflows. Some of the key features are automated unwrapping, advanced editing tools, seam management, etc. Overall, it is a comprehensive UV mapping and editing toolset for 3ds Max. One of the most important things is that we have texel density, so we are not going to have any problems with the scaling of the UV shells. I'm going to leave a link down below in the description so you can go ahead and check for yourself. Also, the script creator has an YouTube channel that you can go ahead and visit. On the channel you can find very useful tutorials about how you can use the script, so just go ahead in playlists and select this playlist and watch it all. This is one of the paid scripts that I warmly recommend, so if you like it after you've seen the video, go ahead and get it. On the other hand, RizomUV Virtual Spaces is a standalone software dedicated to UV mapping and unwrapping. It provides a comprehensive set of tools and features for creating efficient and optimized UV layouts. One of its standout features is the concept of virtual spaces, which offers a unique and intuitive approach of UV mapping. RizomUV is designed to work with various 3D modeling software applications as 3ds Max, Maya, Cinema 4D, Blender, Houdini, and much more. So it supports live synchronization, and any change made to the 3D model in the supported software are automatically updated and reflected in real time within RizomUV. For RizomUV Virtual Spaces, we have different licenses that we can go ahead and get. So I would suggest that you get the Indie license and get the Perpetual license, because after you've passed the 1 year period of support, you can still go ahead and use the software, but you don't have the support. And in my opinion, that is the perfect way to get away with something. So to be honest, you really are not going to even need that support for much longer time, so you can at least get 2 or 3 years after that with RizomUV. Now we can get back to our model. So just for example, we will start with the toilet bowl for now. So for this part we will use only the native tool of 3ds Max. So we're just gonna go ahead and hide everything else, and then we are going to apply an UV Unwrap modifier. So now we can see that we have these strange seams going on, right? The UV is, as I shall say, messed up pretty much. So we're going to need to put an UV mapping clear. So put that modifier and then go ahead and collapse to editable poly. And now when we apply the UVW unwrap, we can see that we have clear mapping. We don't have any unwrap or anything. So now we can go ahead and open the UV editor, and as we can see in the UV editor, the whole model is a whole island. So we're going to need to start and cut some seams. So first of all, let's just set the window right here. We're going to enable edged faces so we can clearly see the edges, and then with edge selection, let me just fix this just a quick bit so I have more space to work. Then go ahead and select edge selection right here, or also you have here, or also you can press 2 on your keyboard. So just go ahead and select edge selection, and now we can start selecting edges right here. So we'll start from the back right here, select this edge loop so it goes around, then we'll select this one, then we can proceed to this one, and on the opposite side also. Now if we click on the side, we'll see that we have nothing selected, right? And what we've just done is we've just selected the edges that we want to cut. So right here we have a tool that is named break. So if we click on it, we will break these edges and we will have seams now. So just keep in mind that you will always have to make the seams yourself like this. So go ahead, select this edge loop right here, then select this edge loop, and on the opposite side also, and then click on break. Then we are going to proceed here and also grab an edge loop down here and go ahead and break them. And then we have a specific case right here, because if we double click on this edge, we'll get the whole loop of the model like this, right? And we don't want to cut right here, we want to cut just here in this place. So we can go ahead and select this edge and click right here, so we can select only the edge loop, but we're selecting that in the UV editor, and then we can go ahead and break that. So then go ahead and select unfold right here. So I'm just clicking on things and then click on quick peel, and now we have the model actually peeled, and it is pretty done really. The only thing that we now have left to do is just we need to just fix the flow of the texture, right? Because sometimes models might use some texture that should flow, that goes around the model, or it has any pattern to it or something like that. So we are going to need to set every single piece hand by hand, so just like that. So honestly, in 3ds Max with the native tool, we are going to have a lot of rotating and scaling to do, because we do not have texel density, we do not have rotation that we could use, we do not have straighten right here, and also we might have problems with so if we try and set it like this, we will almost definitely all the time have problems with it. So it will have stretching, it will have things like that. Overall, the UV tools in 3ds Max are so weak right now that I truly hope in near future that we are going to get some progress in this field, because we really need it. Compared to some other softwares, it's down on the bottom. So that is why actually we as 3ds Max community try to use more scripts and plugins, because 3ds Max heavily depends on scripts and plugins for almost everything, not just the UV unwrapping. So as you've seen on the footage, for now I was rotating the UV islands, so I'm trying to set them straight, and I can only do that by eye. I don't have any tool that could help me. So if we try and get now the textile density, actually if we try to understand how these things work, so 4 of these little squares actually are 10 by 10 centimeters in the viewport. If you make the grid 10 by 10 centimeters, you will have 4 of those squares right there. So that's the only way that you can check for the textile density. So you will clearly see now that if we display the grid in the viewport like this, you'll see that these little boxes actually make the, let's just put, and now you can compare that with the grid in the UV editor, that 4 of these boxes create 10 by 10 centimeters. And if we go in grid and snap settings right here, we can check how our grid spacing is set up to be. So that's how I know that 4 of these squares create 10 by 10 centimeters. So if I put the checker back on, I can only go ahead and scale and just from my eyes perspective see how it should look. So it's really boring and hard work to do if we are using only the native tools that 3ds Max offers. So if we go ahead and look around the model right now, we will see that we have pretty much the same textile density applied, but we do not know what the actual textile density is compared to the map that we are going to use. So that's actually what we can pretty much do with native 3ds Max, with the native tools in 3ds Max. So that's why we are going to rely on scripts or even other separate software, so we can fix and get better results with the UV unwrapping. So basically that is why I would warmly suggest that you go ahead and get one of these scripts or software as you should call it. So then go ahead and convert this to editable poly, and we are going to proceed to unwrap the tank now with the UV tools. So basically now this is the second part of this video, and in this part we are going to proceed to unwrap the tank with UV tools. So just go ahead and open UV tools if you have them. Then we are going to click on add. So that adds a UVW unwrap modifier in the modifier stack. And so now we can see that we have actually preset the UV, but before we go ahead, I'm going to click on collapse right here, so it collapses the modifier, and I am going to add an UV mapping clear. So we delete the UVW mapping and convert that to editable poly. And now when we add the unwrap modifier, we are going to see that we do not have any unwrapping going on. So go ahead and press F4 to go into edge faces, and then you are going to get edge selection right here and select these edges right here, then here, and also on the opposite side like this. And then we are going to open the editor right here, and we are going to press on break again, like we did in the previous part. So then go ahead and just take one of these edges right here, double click on it. Then we can also move up a bit and select these edges right on the top, something like this. But don't cut these edges right now, don't select them, because the 3ds Max is going to loop all those edges around and you will have a problem. So then take those loop selections, open the UV editor and click on break. Then we can get the editor and we're going to change the selection to polygons right here, and double click on these polygons and we are going to isolate them. So just click on this triangle with an eye, and then with edge selection selected, we are going to select these edges right here, then here, and also on the opposite sides like this, and we are going to break them, and then we are going to exit the isolate mode. So basically what we've done from the start of the second part up to now, we could have done with Unwrap UVW modifier alone, but the thing is that now we will have more useful tools than the tools that we've used before. So go ahead and open the editor, go into polygon mode, select all and just click on quick peel. So we now have everything that we need, right? But we still have the problem with the rotation of the UV islands. And what we can do actually now is just we go ahead and click right here, so we can orient horizontally. So if we click that, now the script orients all of the elements horizontally, so we would not have any problem with orienting them manually, which is, believe me, very hard work to do. So after we've done that, we can go ahead and align all the objects horizontally and vertically and horizontally also, and then we can get all of them with polygon selection. Then we go into the extra tools, and right down here we have the texel density. So if the texture is 1024 pixels, the density should be 10.24 pixels. So if we go ahead and select set right now, that will set the actual density that we should have for the whole model. So when we view the model, actually 10 centimeters is going to be these 4 boxes right here. So like we've said in the previous video, right? So the thing is that we now have same texel density for everything. So we're just gonna go and sec check pattern, and we're going to see that the boxes do not have stretching. That's first and the most important. And then we can also see that the boxes have the same size, right? We can also, let me just open up the editor again and put the checker pattern. We can also tweak in the viewport, so this is very useful thing. So we can go ahead and move the shells, and that will remember the edits right here. Also we have I don't know what we have, what the fuck. So that's about it. So it does not offer us anything separate from what we already have in 3ds Max, but it does offer us something more progressive. So things like arrangements, so we can go ahead and align them to different positions, so all the shells. We can also align horizontally and vertically in place. We can go ahead and orient the shells, so that gives us more progressive UVW unwrapping than the actual that we have in 3ds Max natively. So this is going to be it for now. If you are more interested, just go ahead and put some comments down below and I will make a thorough tutorial on how to use this script. So we still have one more method to cover. So we're just going to get the rest parts that we've not do any unwrapping on, and then with them selected we're going to go ahead and click on the icon right here that actually is a bridge for RizomUV, and we're going to click here on new and then click on this icon right here. What that will do is going to put us in the software, so it's going to open in a new window with the software, and right here we have two viewports. So we have the usual viewport, the 3D viewport, and then on the right we have the 2D viewport. So right now we're going to select the edge selection. Right here we have selections like in 3ds Max, so we have edge, vertex edge selection, polygon and element selection. So we'll just go ahead and take the edge selection, and we're going to get this edge right here, and then also on the opposite side. So just double click, the same as 3ds Max. You can set the settings, I will tell you right later. So when we've got all of these edges, it's interesting that if we go ahead and click right here, it's not going to take the whole loop like it does in 3ds Max. It's just going to take the loop up to the loops that we have selected. Now before we do anything else, you can see that I can move in RizomUV like I do in 3ds Max, but you will need to set that, so you can just go ahead into edit right here and then into keyboard mouse customizer. That's going to bring up a menu, and here we have a mouse preset that we can set in many different softwares. So probably these are all the supported softwares that actually RizomUV supports. So here we have Rizom Legacy and we have RizomUV that are newer, and then we can go ahead and select 3ds Max. Then you just go ahead and click save and close. I will just click on the X here because it's previously saved, and now we can proceed with the unwrapping. So in order to unwrap, we have the selected edges and they are going to be blue right here, and then here we have a cut tool that we're going to click on, and it's going to cut. Oh, let me just select these edges right here and press cut, and now we have the whole object cut. Now we have the seams, and we can go into element selection and select all of the elements right here, and then we can view them in the 2D space right here on the right on the 2D viewport. So this is the actual UV editor that you see, and now we can go ahead and click on these two icons. So the first one, that is U, actually unwraps, and the second one, that is O, is the icon for optimization. So we're going to click a few times on optimization, and then we are actually done. So we have only 2 clicks. After that, we are going to select the toilet lid and we are going to isolate the selection. So go ahead and click on isolate, and then we can get the edge selection. And we are going to start selecting some edges. So I want this edge loop selected and only the edges right here on the back. So note that when they turn orange, they're already cut seams. So I'm using the shortcut C on my keyboard for cutting. Now you can go ahead and unwrap and optimize this. So you see here we also have a live view of the distortion panel that we can actually view if we have any distortion in the model. Then go ahead and click here on show, so it will show everything else in the scene. Then with element selection, take the toilet seat, and with edge selection, firstly we're going to isolate it, of course, and then with edge selection we're going to select only these edges right here, and then these ones on the back also. When you're done, just click C to cut them, and then just double check, and we can select the element, the whole element, and then go unwrap and optimize. Just click a couple of times, and then we are pretty much done. So go ahead and click show, so we show everything in the scene. Now we're going to select everything, and now is where the magic happens. So we have the align panel right here on the panels on the right side. So click on align here, and here we can align horizontally and vertically. So we have actually the same tools that we had previously in the UV tools. So just go ahead and align them horizontally or maybe vertically, however you want that. And then we can also take edge selection and select the middle edge, or let's say if any edge that we want to align horizontally or vertically. So you can just see, if we click on align horizontally, it will turn the whole object. So let's just go back. I want them aligned vertically. Then go ahead and take everything in the scene. We can also pack them. We can do pretty much everything the same, but this software is actually standalone, and it's just more focused on the unwrapping than the other softwares. So I was just trying to flip, aka I was just trying to rotate the objects, and then I'm going to click optimize a couple more times. And now we've come to the part that is the most important sometimes. So this here is the textile density. Here we have the map resolution also. So we are now going to set the textile density target, which is dependent on the map resolution. So we have to set the map resolution and the textile density target to be the same. So go 1024, and then here we have in increments 10.24. So remember that it's always in increments, and then you can apply textile density, and that will make the density same for every object in the scene. And that is pretty much it. So now what we can do is we can take again every object and we can align them horizontally and vertically as we did with the UV tools previously, and we can set them left or right, like in the middle of the 3D world, maybe actually the 2D world, or we can move them wherever we want, like for example, let's say in the middle of the UV space. So after we are done, we can go into file and select save. That is going to put us back into 3ds Max, Remember that we always have to convert to editable poly after we've worked in RizomUV, because that leaves a modifier, and if we do not collapse the modifier, we are going to lose the unwrapping. So go ahead and select all the objects and add an unwrap. So let's just quickly check how the texture is flowing, so you can see now that what we've unwrapped with 3ds Max is actually it does have stretching, right, as opposed to the other two methods. So let's just take the toilet bowl and open with edit into RizomUV. Now, as you will notice, we do have the unwrapping put into RizomUV. So we're just going to select these edges right here, and this edge and this edge, and this is a cool trick that we could do. Then we are going to constrain these edges horizontally, right? And then when we they're going to turn blue after we've constrained them. So then when we are going to take the element selection and select and optimize, we're going to have these straight edges that actually Rizom is trying to unwrap around them. So after that, we are going to have a flow of the topology. We are going to have a flow of the texture as it flows with the topology. Then we can go ahead and just align the other shells, and we're going to put the same texel density as we did previously with the other parts, and we can also maybe align them horizontally and vertically, or we will just go back and we are going to take the tank also and open the tank with edit in RizomUV. We're going to optimize that. Here you can see how the distortion looks actually. So we can go ahead and optimize the whole tank. And then we are going to go back in 3ds Max because we've previously set, or we can just go ahead and set it again. Just let's check if it's accurate. Yes. So we can now go ahead and put this back into 3ds Max. So just go ahead and press Ctrl S or File and Save. After that, remember to convert to editable poly. So now we are going to get all of the objects and we are going to open them up with UV Toolkit. We're going to open up the UV editor, select everything with polygon selection, make sure that is polygon selection selected, and Ctrl A to select everything. And then we are going to align everything vertically and horizontally. Now if we go down here and we click on this icon, we will go in absolute transfer mode, so we can that way move the islands into the center of the 2D UV world, and then we can go ahead and convert them to editable poly. So after that, we can go into hierarchy tab, reset the transforms and the scale, then go into utilities tab and reset the X form, and then convert to editable poly. So now we are pretty much done. So this was the unwrapping. So let's just go ahead and put checker and put that into the diffuse map of into the diffuse color. Now that the checker is too big, so of course we're going to have to check the tiling. So but it does look good. For now it does look good. So go ahead into the checker material and reading the tiling right here, type 10 by 10. So we have this tiling right here, and now it's better to view. So you can clearly see that we have good unwrapping going on. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope it was helpful. If you are interested in more thorough tutorials on RizomUV and UV tools, just write down in the comments and I will try in near future to focus more on them. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you guys. Bye bye.